Then when I asked, do you think jealousy is normal in day-to-day life, only 58% said yes. So more people think it's normal in relationships than in day-to-day life. So that was the results from mine. So quite similar to yours, to be honest.
Yeah. So that was quite an interesting topic in itself, wasn't it? How monogamy is inherently not natural, really. When you look at it for what it is, being with one person forever is a pretty human, unnatural, socially conditioned state, generally speaking. I'm not saying it's necessarily a negative thing, but it's certainly not the norm that we should be experiencing. And off the back of that, more people believe that jealousy is acceptable than in normal day-to-day activities. So in that monogamous state, which is slightly skewed anyway, because it's slightly unnatural, and therefore in that situation, people are experiencing jealousy more. So you're living in a more possessive way. When you go out with a friend for a beer or something, and then you go out with another friend, the friend that you're not hanging out with doesn't seem to get jealous quite as often. But as soon as you're in that monogamous relationship, that possessiveness is there. That person is all mine, and they go out for a drink with someone else, and the jealousy comes racing to the surface, which sort of shows that the monogamy and jealousy do go sort of hand in hand, and monogamy enables jealousy to be slightly more perceived as normal.
Yeah, because monogamy's been normalised, so then that means that the jealousy comes with that, and that's normalised. And yeah, it's very true. Obviously, we're not saying that monogamy or non-monogamy is better than the other, but that is what tends to happen. Also, you could say that it's socially conditioned, I believe, that jealousy is normal in relationships. I think that could be social conditioning. So the majority of those polls show that people do think it's normal to experience it in relationships. And you could ask the question to yourself, is that social conditioning? Like, if we went back from scratch, like to year zero, would we as humans experience, jealousy? And actually probably wouldn't, because back then there wasn't such thing as monogamy. Monogamy is quite a fairly new thing when you think of the lifespan of humans. It's only since the start of agriculture, really, that monogamy started, for financial and economic reasons. So if you think about how jealousy in monogamy, in your relationships, in your day-to-day life, so if you're listening to this and your partner, girl or boy, wants to go for dinner with the opposite sex, how do you feel about that? So if you're listening right now and you're imagining your partner going for dinner with someone else, just a friend, and they tell you that it's just a friend, if that makes you feel any sort of jealousy or insecurity, then that is a really good chance for you to look at yourself and think about, why is it that you are feeling jealous? Why are you not feeling good enough? And reflect, rather than trying to control your partner and not letting them do what they want. And again, if someone's going to cheat on you, they will cheat on you at some point. So there's no point trying to control someone and manipulate them. But it's very interesting that I have a lot of friends who don't like their partners going to a party with someone else, or going for dinner with someone else. And when you think about it, would you let them go with the same sex? Yes. Like, loads of girls will let their boyfriends go for dinner with their other guy friends, but to go for dinner with another girl, it's seen as like a problem. But it's very interesting where that sort of comes from. And is that your insecurities? Is that your not feeling good enough? Is it your fear of abandonment? They might leave you for someone else.
So I think that monogamy causes a series of knock-on effects to happen, which I guess jealousy as well, which are inherently bad. So you have the monogamy, which is fine, it's fine and all the rest of it, but the monogamy then comes with a level of possessiveness that is inherently strange, and that strangeness is passed on through the possessive nature of a monogamous relationship. So it starts off with, you can't have sex with a member of the opposite sex. But then it slowly comes back I'm not saying all relationships, in some relationships you can go out with a member of the opposite sex and it's fine for dinner. However, with most monogamous relationships, it ends up being, you can't have sex with a member of the opposite sex. You can't kiss a member of the opposite sex. You can't go to dinner with a member of the opposite sex. You can't talk and like pictures of a member of the opposite sex. And it goes all the way back to more and more possessiveness and more control. And before you know it, you're living in a kind of caged environment.
But do you think that is monogamy, or do you think that is all coming from jealousies and insecurities?
Yeah, I think it's coming from jealousies and insecurities. However, I think that monogamy is the thing that is kickstarting all that, because it comes from this unnatural state where therefore you're allowed to be possessive because you're monogamous. Because you're monogamous, I have this thing, I own this part of that person. That person cannot sleep with someone else because we're monogamous. And the knock-on effect of that is it ends up getting more and more possessive and more ridiculous, to the point that you can't do anything with a member of the opposite sex, which is, if you want to live in that monogamous state, that's all very well and good. However, you have to kind of keep an eye on the fact that it can become really, really possessive by nature. So therefore, you need to keep an eye on the jealousies and make sure that you are trusting of your partner and you're not too controlling of your partner.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that all monogamous relationships need to be like that, and that all monogamous relationships are. So if you are in a monogamous relationship, I think that you can let your partner go for dinner and not snoop on their social media and stuff like that. That's down to your relationship and how secure you are as a person. So going back to the jealousy thing, like if you are in a monogamous relationship and you don't allow those things, then that's not good. But if you're listening to what Tristan said and you're thinking, actually, I don't do that, that's really good. I mean, if you're in a monogamous relationship where you're very content with your partner doing what they want and you don't snoop on their phone, you let them, that's really good. But if you are feeling any sort of insecurities and jealousies, then it's not the best thing to try and possess and manipulate your partner subconsciously. Obviously, we don't do it intentionally. We think that it's for a good reason. So we think that I don't know, you can't like that girl, why are you liking that girl's Instagram? Like, we think that's for an okay reason, but really when you think about it, it's not. Like, you should be letting your partner have free will to do what they want, but because you're in a monogamous relationship, all these rules come along.
Yeah, well, it comes from the jealousy comes from the ego trying to protect itself. So the ego is the thing that keeps you safe in life. However, they talk about the ego being like the overprotective parent. So the parent does look after you, the ego does look after you. However, the ego becomes overprotective. So you, even in your monogamous relationship, you going having sex with that person is the thing that's the problem. That's like the parent. So the parent is like, you can't have sex with that person. That's fair enough. That's the rules of the monogamous relationship. The overprotective parent is the, if this person talks to this person, it will lead to them having sex with this person. So therefore, the overprotective parent says, you can't go for a drink with that person. You can't even like that person's photos on Instagram. So it becomes too powerful.
But that all comes down to a fear of abandonment. So the not wanting them to like the photos or go for dinner, not feeling good enough, it comes down to the fear that they will leave me and go off with someone else because this woman is more beautiful, this man is better than me, so therefore I'm worried my partner will go off. So it does all come, you're right, it does come from the ego and that fear of abandonment.
Yeah, it's the ego being overprotective, essentially.
The ego because they're worried that they're going to leave.
And the problem with that is also you are controlling someone to be not themselves, so you're not allowing that person to be themselves, so you end up putting too much pressure onto that relationship by trying to control that person. That person can't be themselves and therefore they feel suffocated. So you do have to really reel that in and make sure that your ego is not trying to overprotect you. It needs to protect you. You need to stop your partner, especially in a monogamous relationship, having sex with someone else, but you need to allow your partner, you need to trust your partner, you need to drop the ego and allow your partner to be them, otherwise you'll end up suffocating that person.
And always trust your partner until the trust is broken. So if your partner wants to go for dinner with someone else or wants to like someone else's Instagram photos, it doesn't mean anything unless obviously it becomes to that point. And if they are going to cheat on you, and they do, then you should see it as a blessing because they've broken the terms of your relationship, they've disrespected you, they're not right for you anyway. So it's a good thing.